All right. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So hello, everyone. My name is Clarissa Tejeda, and I'm the Associate Director of Career Services here at the Mays Center at Texas A&M San Antonio. And I'm joined by a wonderful group of people that I know we're going to have a wonderful conversation. This is actually our first virtual Majors and Minors week. This is something, though, that we're really excited about because it's a great opportunity that we were able to take advantage of, during COVID. The fact that we get to build a library that anyone can access at any time, any part of your career, not only as a student, but maybe later on if you decide to change career paths, you get to really explore these different options. So really just, I guess, excited about all the information that we're going to share today. Now, this is a collaborative effort, not only between the May Center, but also our alumni affairs area. So thank you so much to Dr. Mary Kay Cooper for just really being a champion in helping us navigate this and really helping us get a wonderful lineup to support this 3-day initiative.
My pleasure. Thank you, alumni.
Yes, and thank you to the alum who are going to have some great stories, I know. And then also academic advising. So Nancy Larson's actually joining us today too. The academic advising team, we wanted to make sure to incorporate them as part of the conversation because they're having these intentional conversations just like we are in the career services team, where students are asking, okay, so I've declared this major. What does it look like in the classroom, and then what does it look like after I walk stage? So really glad that we were able to partner together and to really, again, do a great lineup and have a great library that we can certainly share with our students. Now, a couple housekeeping. So just a reminder, this session is going to be recorded. So because of that, we do want to use the chat box. If we do have any questions throughout the session, please feel free to go ahead and input them there. Also, because I think we've all experienced this whole virtual meeting setting, it's really easy to kind of talk over people and such. So we do want to mute if, again, we're not speaking at that time, and it does help kind of eliminate some of that feedback noise. So do be mindful of that as we're kind of going through this conversation. Once this is completed, it will be posted on the Tamusa Mays YouTube channel within the next 24 hours, and it will be part of a actual playlist called Majors and Minors. So it'll be really cool, again, that we can use this ongoing. So let's go ahead and start introducing our panelists. Make sure I'm not missing anybody real quick. Okay, let's see, we'll skip past Meloney for this. All right, so our first panelist is Trish Guetta, who's actually an alumnus from our 2016 and 2019 cohorts in the management program. So kudos to you. Trish is actually working with WellMed Medical Management as a clinic administrator. So I'm going to be really interested to kind of hear your healthcare perspective, even maybe how some of your role has changed during COVID, perhaps. Now, we also did ask our alumnus kind of a nugget of advice for our freshmen. So the words of encouragement that she has is to commit to being a lifelong learner. There is always more to learn from those around you. Take time to invest in someone else. Help them reach their goals and dreams. It's rewarding to watch someone else achieve success. So thank you so much for that, Trish. I think I really do appreciate, especially the concept of lifelong learning, letting students know that it's not just about the classroom experience. Once you get out there into the world of work, you still have to evolve and still kind of grow. So I appreciate that. All right. So I think we also have Meloney who just joined us. Meloney, are you good?
Yes.
Awesome. All right, so I'm going to go back to your intro slide real quick. So we are joined by Meloney Castro, who's also a double alumnus of A&M San Antonio from our 2015 and 2017 cohort with management. Meloney has been a great champion also with GM Financial. She really has been a game changer in helping us kind of build a great relationship with that organization. She serves as a human resources business partner, and her word of encouragement is to make the most of your college experience and to soak it all in. Join clubs, make contacts with your peers, attend school events, take advantage of all the resources available to you. The more you do, the bigger your network would grow and the further you will go. Thank you so much for offering that, especially from a programming perspective. I think, again, it's a common misthought where students think, well, it's just about the classroom experience and that's it. College is so much more than that. I know a common trend with some of y'all is actually that you did extracurriculars. I know Mario will probably talk about some of that because he was always active with student orgs. So I love to hear that. But I appreciate you, Meloney, really highlighting that to make sure that it is very holistic, that they are involved in multiple parts of our campus community. So thank you for that. All right, now we have Mario Siller, who's part of our 2019 cohort, and he was a marketing major. Total favoritism because I was a marketing undergrad. So Mario, whoop right there. He's actually working for a company called Karma Candle Makers, and he's serving as the marketing and sales manager. And the words of encouragement that he wants to offer our Jaguars is there are a few things that will help you stand out amongst the crowd, which exactly what an effective marketing major wants to achieve. Be creative, put forth a valiant effort, know your target audience, and organize a game plan. That's such a marketing major. Thank you for that. Surrounding yourself with creative people and acquiring a mentor, yes, can drastically improve your marketing potential. Believe in yourself and your skills will surface. And I will actually be adding on a question about mentorship based on that, because I think that's been a common trend that we've been seeing with a lot of the alumni that they've been speaking like, hey, mentorship is a thing. And we're really excited to see how that's kind of activated some careers. So because I want us to really just be a part of a community and a family here, I'm going to stop sharing our screen right now. And I just want this to be like, okay, we see each other, we're going to be in a dialogue. So let's open this up to our first question. So the first question I have for y'all is if you could tell us about, a little bit more about your educational and your professional goal, your professional background and goals. Like, how did you get to where you are now? So we'll start with Mario on this and then lead with Trish and then Meloney.
Okay, thank you so much. Well, I guess my journey started out, 20 years ago originally when I wanted to go to school, but I started working and kind of put school off into the back burner. And as far as Karma Candle Makers go, that was just an idea that my wife had as far as just giving out gifts to people for Christmas gifts. This was in 2009. And before we knew it, people were wanting to order candles from us, and we realized it became a business. 4 years later, I decided I needed to do that full time. 4 years later after that, we finally felt we were at a point where everything was kind of on autopilot and I was able to free myself up to go to school. And when it was time to choose a major, I still had to go to San Antonio College to knock out a few more courses before I was even able to go to Texas A&M San Antonio. And actually, that's where I met you, Clarissa. I met you there at San Antonio College. And I still had to knock out a few more classes. And even then, I still didn't know what my major was going to be. And I remembered, gosh, when I first got out of high school, this was in the 90s, and I kind of always wanted to do marketing. So I kind of figured this would be a great, I didn't know if I should do just general business or I should do marketing. So I kind of felt marketing was more of my personality and more what I like to do. So that's what kind of led me down that path. And I think going to Texas A&M, San Antonio, and meeting the people that I met along the way, some of my marketing professors, was just phenomenal. I was blown away by some of the people that I was instructed by. So that's what kind of led me down that path of how I started that business and how I got to go back to school and why I chose marketing.
Nice. Thank you so much for that, Mario.
Yeah.
Okay, next.
So let's see. So I also, too, like Mario, started college a little later in life. I was a more seasoned student, as some people like to say. And it's been an incredible journey. Like, my goal every year is to get somebody to go back to school because the journey has been so incredible. I find somebody every year to invest in. I've been with WellMed here now almost 3 years, and I've got one of my staff who went back to school last year, and one who I'm working on, a couple that I'm working on. But it is really, truly, for us, like you said, about mentorship. And it's taking the people that are around me. It's been an incredible journey with WellMed. It's been an amazing 2.5 years of learning and growing, not just growing my people, but growing myself, and without the education, without the degrees, without my master's, which I finished last December, those were definitely tools in my toolbox that I would not be successful without. There's a lot to be said for hands-on, doing the work, having the experience, but also having the education behind it to make those decisions that are important, right? Regarding the financials, regarding the people, regarding, my biggest asset is my human capital. Without them, my clinic would not be a success. And without all of those tools, my clinic wouldn't be having their best year yet. All of those things have served to make me a better manager, a better leader, a better mentor. And I look forward to what the future has. Like being part of the alumni and being part of the Texas A&M family is such an amazing opportunity. And I push that probably very more aggressively than most people would, because I believe in the journey. I believe in the professors, the instructors, the people around me that invested in me, and being able to tie back to that professor that said, and I can say, hey, Professor Calfiore, I'm having some issues in this area. Like, what do you think? And him being able to say, hey, Trish, like, what's going on? And let me help you. But professionally, I would not be where I am without the A&M family. And I am super grateful for the journey that I've been on.
Thank you so much for that, Trish. All right, Melanie?
Okay, well, kind of like Mario and Trish, I did get a late start in school, but it wasn't a true late start. I did have an early start right after high school. I went to college. I wasn't as successful. I thought that I could do it on my own and just work my way up. And quickly I realized that all of my friends that were, starting to surpass me had a degree, and they had this also like level of professionalism and the way they carried themselves, which was a lot different than what I was doing. So I quickly realized that, you know what, if I want to be able to climb the ladder at work and really be able to grow and do what I truly want to do, I had to go back to school. And in doing that, I had done some research into some fields that I was interested in. And the reason why I'm so heavy about talking to your professors, the career services department, and participating in clubs and societies is because that is truly what helped me become successful today and what has continued to help me be successful. When I decided to go to Texas A&M for my undergrad, I joined the Society for Human Resource Management with Dr. Guardia. And to this day, he still serves as a guide and mentor to me. I mean, I can reach out to him. We have this network that's ongoing. Even once you're an alum, he still sends emails out. He keeps us connected. There's job postings. He's reaching out about STAR students. So my college career has like never ended. You know, I graduated, but it hasn't stopped, and that network continues to keep going, and it does help me in my career today. I'm here able to speak at Texas A&M, which helps me, and GM Financial, as you know, Clarissa, because this is part of my job and what I do. So I feel that Texas A&M really did provide me a great foundation for success.
Nice. Thank you so much. And again, thank you for talking about your faculty. I think that is something where students feel like they're maybe a little intimidated sometimes by faculty. Like, wait, I can approach them and talk to them about this stuff? Absolutely, especially within the College of Business. So many of them have come from the practitioner side that you want to ask them because they've worked in industry. So you want to have those conversations. So thank you for stating that. Now, I want to talk about, how do you do your job? So what are the key skills that are really needed to be successful in y'all's roles? And how have you really focused in on developing those skills? So we'll start with Trish on this, and then Melanie, and then Mario.
I think the biggest skill right now, and even here as a company, I work for United Health Group, right, which owns WellMed. But the emotional intelligence piece is so critical in this season that we're in, of being able to empathize and being able to be self-aware when you're about to have a meltdown because nothing's like it should be, and you don't have any control over some of the variables that are thrown at us. But that piece, just managing the people, managing the human capital, and being able to say, hey guys, you know what, I need a timeout, or you need a timeout, and being aware of like just what's going on my clinic floor, what's going on with my people, what's going on with my providers. There's so many things cascading down in this season, that if I wasn't self-aware, that if there wasn't those strategy skills and the emotional intelligence and learning all of those pieces, I couldn't do this job. Like, I mean, and there's days that probably I don't do this as well as I could because of the stress levels. But thankfully, like, also the people around me have learned. They've learned to how I react to certain situations, and they know probably not a good time, right? I'll come back. You know, I've literally had somebody walk into my office and go, I'll be back. That's not a good time. So I think that development is something that you learn according to your environment, right? If I was in a different clinic in a different area, I would have to learn that for that environment. But with the education and the background, it's afforded me the opportunity to do that.
Spoken like a true management major right there, making sure that emotional intelligence is a top line. Because I think that's something too that we want to make sure that we emphasize to students. Again, the skills that you're developing from these majors, they go a long way, and how can you really pivot them and use them in your current role. So thank you for mentioning that, especially I think in this setting, that's probably a skill that is a lot of your decision making, I'm sure. All right, Melanie.
Yes. So really how I do my job, a lot of it is competency based, how I'm going to get things done. You know, a lot of soft skills have to go into it. You know, I hate to say this back when I was in school, but we got assigned so many group projects. And I was always like, why? Why do we have to have group projects? I can do this on my own and I could do it like 100 times better. But I'm so grateful that I did have as many group projects as I did, because in the real world and you know, in most business majors, what we do is we work in groups and we work in teams, and you have to learn how to work with other groups where you cross function, or even completely a whole different department like I do. I mean, I'm HR, but I support the business, and I have to learn how to communicate, build a rapport, and be able to support those leaders successfully. So adapting to everybody's communication style, learning to just adapt to their personalities, not taking again, having emotional intelligence, not taking it personally, not taking things as, you know, the business is trying to fight me, as opposed to, you know, I'm trying to explain this and how it's going to lead to our success. So a lot of soft skills go into it. And I think that the best thing that I've learned is to really just have a positive attitude, and to just, you know, make sure that we get the job done and we do it positively. You don't want to impact the whole team with a negative energy. You want to keep your culture positive, and, you know, it really starts to flow from the top down if you do that and you practice that.
Absolutely, especially again, being an HR professional during COVID period, that positivity I'm sure was a game changer for your team.
Oh, majorly.
Again, thank you also for mentioning the teamwork. That's also been a common one that people are like, why do they do this? Is this a personal vendetta that this faculty member may have? It's like, there's a reason to the madness, right? Thank you for mentioning that, because that's also something, making sure that you understand everything's done for a reason. The fact that they were those academic projects, you were developing skills that you could leverage for later on in your career. So thanks for that. All right, Mario, what about you?
Okay. Well, some of the skills that I have to, I guess, force upon myself is time management skills. It's always one of the biggest struggles whenever you own your own business. But especially during these times, I've had to really take advantage of the different channels that we have as far as marketing goes, since over 50% of our business would rely on artisan markets. Now there's been 0 artisan markets. So we've been having to try to be really creative on how we're trying to engage with our customers and what channels are working for our customers now that we kind of let fall to the wayside just because we had that luxury of always being in front of people. But as far as other skills that I have really put into place, that I would say I only took one class, but it was actually 2 classes that were game changers. One of them was my communications class with Professor Jenkins. being able to write professionally and communicate professionally, regardless of what platform you're using, whether it's social media, email, or verbal communication, it's all going to be the same message, but it's going to be delivered in a little bit different format. So those classes with Dr. Jenkins really helped me polish up my communicating skills. And then the one class that it was my last semester, was my supply chain management with Dr. Garcia. And my frame of mind after taking that class completely changed everything, as far as knowing your management, your inventory levels, knowing how it affects your bottom dollar. And it's stuff that I thought about, but never really analyzed until I took that class. So that's definitely one of my skills that I have to put into place now, is all my my logistics, my all my back end supplies, and how much stuff that I actually do have in stock, and what is it really costing me to have this extra stuff on hand. So I think that's one skill that quickly surfaced after I graduated, was my supply chain management skills that I learned from that class.
Again, I can appreciate that as a marketing major, because I'm curious, Mario, like, so when you were entering the marketing major, because typically marketing is kind of, people don't know about it much. They just assume it's just advertising and that's it. How would you explain what marketing is for a marketing undergrad, so they actually understand, like, what do you use it in a day to day?
It's communication. It's really about communication and knowing how to communicate. It's about knowing your target audience, knowing what kind of tone you're going to have, and what is the message you're going to relay. And as long as you can stay cohesive with that message, that's pretty much what marketing is being able to effectively communicate across every platform you can think of, whether it's verbal or any social media or digital platform. But that's basically to me, that's what marketing is be able to tell people about something, whether it's a service or whether it's a product, and how polished it's going to look and how creative it's going to be is up to that person.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it's the whole business process. I think that's where I think marketing is it's a trickier major for some, where it's start to finish. Again, how do you design it? How do you get customer feedback? How are you meeting them where they're at? To also being smart about that pricing strategy. So when a product is actually on the shelf, how do you get that out there? So.
And I will add to Meloney's, as far as group projects go, that's one of the things that you really learn whenever you're in any type of business class or marketing classes. You start to recognize your strengths and some of your weaknesses. And that's something that you start to rely on some of your group members. Who's the better graphic designer? Who's the better copywriter? Who's the better who's the better manager? So I think you really start to learn these different roles with doing some of the group work that we did in school.
All right. So next question I have is, I would love to hear, what has been your favorite professional project that you've gotten to work on? Really a moment you're like, you know what? I am shining. I am truly living like my best life right now. So Meloney, I'll start with you, and then Mario, and then Trish.
All right. So I would say the best part of my job or like project that I work on is actually public speaking and events. Being in university relations is really my sweet spot. I feel it's like where I shine with my company, and it was something that it may sound a little bit weird, but it was a childhood dream of mine to be able to be out in the community and making a difference. And I really am grateful for the fact that I have these university relations, and I do get to touch to students and talk to them about my struggles and my journey in college, and that somehow this story motivates or helps somebody else, or they say, you know what, I'm going through the same thing. I'm having that same struggle, but she made it, I can make it. So I really feel that this has been exactly what I would say living the dream is for me.
Okay, next.
Okay, that's me. My wife and I were just discussing this, and what are probably the most proud project that I've worked on professionally with the candle company has been our Dia de los Muertos candle that we released, I think, about 3 years ago. We had never done Dia de los Muertos festival before, and we kind of figured if we're going to join this festival, it would kind of make sense if we had a product that went along with it. So we got together and we collaborated with Barbacoa Apparel, who's a local t-shirt designer here in San Antonio. and they created a Dia de los Muertos label for us. And I remember even looking for the right glass, finding the glass, getting it all mocked up for marketing, coming up with names for the candles, and just that whole process that we went through as far as from start to finish, and how successful it was even at the end after when we sold all their candles. And just a response, overall response, I just felt like that was one of the most successful collaborations and projects that we had ever done. And I felt proud to have seen it from start to finish.
Oh yeah, shout out to Barbacoa Apparel. They're phenomenal. So very smart partnership.
Thank you.
Right, Trish.
So my first year here at WellMed, we do these learning sessions, and they're market wide. So each market, we have like 5-6 different markets for WellMed. The first year I was here, they decided to do a fall summit. And so I got to coordinate a huge event at Fiesta, Texas for all of the San Antonio market for WellMed. And that's my niche. Like, I love organizing things. I love putting things together. I love coordinating. And so we got to coordinate like all the decorations, all of the speakers. I got to cross network in different departments. I got to meet a lot of people. So networking in that season for me was just amazing, because I got to meet people all across WellMed. I got to travel to El Paso to see how they did their learning session, and bring that home here to our market to create an event that unfortunately we didn't get to do this year because of COVID, which was really, my heart was breaking this year, not doing that event. But just working with the people at Fiesta, Texas, working with our marketing team, working with our education team to put it all together has been by far. And then getting to stand up on the stage. I'm a little bit of a spotlight person. You probably didn't figure that out yet, right? Standing at the front of the stage with the team that put it all together, and being recognized by them for your accomplishments, right? Doing something that nobody had done here in WellMed in 25 years then, was just an amazing opportunity.
So the next question I have, I know all of y'all kind of alluded to how, again, the classroom experience really did support y'all's journey in terms of your path. I want to know, what else did you do while you were on campus that really felt like it prepared you for life after graduation? Again, was there maybe like student organizations that you looked at, professional associations, research? What was it? Because again, it's not just a classroom experience. How else did you kind of test the waters a bit? So Mario, we'll start with you, and then Melanie, and then Trish.
Okay, I guess it's time to do a little bit of marketing here. The two organizations that I was a part of that absolutely changed my life was Toastmasters, which is a public speaking club. They're on campus, and the American Marketing Association chapter there on campus. As far as Toastmasters go, it just changes your approach of public speaking. You are amazed at your confidence level and how it continues to grow, and the support group that you actually find within that group that can help you get better at public speaking. And the fact that Professor Jenkins, who I was just enamored by his the way he would deliver just a classroom lecture. He was in charge of Toastmasters. So the fact I just wanted to hang out with this guy. I wanted to just be able to hear him talk on a regular basis, and just being able to hear people that you admire, whether it's for their work or just hear them talk, and just how intelligent they talk whenever they're speaking. I just wanted to surround myself with people like that. And I definitely found that in the marketing club as well. I just surrounded yourself with a lot of like-minded people that you quickly found out were the best students in your classes. A lot of the clubs, I quickly found out, like, these are all the A students. These are all the students that I'm wowed by their projects. Now I'm working on projects with them outside of just our classroom, working on bigger projects. So to hear Clarissa you came in one day as well and helping us with elevator speeches, things like that you would get a little bit of extra training that you normally wouldn't get if you weren't part of these clubs. And every single meeting that I went to, I quickly benefited from being a part of that club. And I felt proud to be a part of that club or those clubs. And I still am friends with a lot of the people that I was in those clubs with. And yeah, like I said, those are your leaders. Those are the, if you want to be a part of that group and surround yourself with creatives and surround yourself with people that you admire and surround yourself with people that you're going to want to see them push you and they want to see you achieve your success as well.
Thanks so much for that. And yeah, Toastmasters is a game changer, no doubt. I think everyone assumes it's just for business majors. It is open to any major. It really does allow you to kind of fine tune that public speaking and that presence, which is needed in any industry, right? So it gets you out of your comfort zone. Absolutely. But it's for a
Yes.
really good reason.
Yeah.
All right, Melanie?
Okay. Well, like I mentioned earlier, I joined the Society for Human Resource Management on campus. I had Dr. Guardia, who is the head of that society. But I feel that you're not only networking amongst students and making lifelong connections and friends through there, but through the events that they host, you're also networking with industry professionals, whether you realize it or not at the time. A lot of times, there's industry professionals that attend, your professor's introducing you to them, just as oh, this person is here. But then you realize quickly you bump into them somewhere else and like, hey, I met you at that SARMA event, and they remember you. And the more and more you attend these different events, the more and more you're networking, or you're bumping into the same people. And then all of a sudden you're part of this group email where they're advertising a job or somebody else needs help. And by the time you know it, you've really expanded your network beyond what you really think that you had before. So not only joining a group at school is important, but attending events such as these. I wish that this event was live in person, because you are meeting industry professionals such as myself, Mario, and Trish. And we will remember you. If you come and you introduce yourself, or you're introduced by the Career Services Department or your professor, trust me, the next time you see us, we'll remember you, you'll remember us, and that's networking right there.
Absolutely. And then, so Melanie, also, I want to kind of deep dive. So HR is also heavy on certifications, right? How does SHRM kind of help you through that journey?
It helped me a lot. Everything I learned in the classroom was great, but being part of the SARMA group and SHRM really helped, because you're talking about real life incidents that happen, or you're talking about, hey, I'm a coordinator, but this is going on at work, and you're able to talk about those things amongst other professionals in the world, or other entry level, like the way I was in the beginning. Dr. Guardia offers a course that you can take as well, and I did take that immediately. So I was so grateful that he offered that, and I think it came like at a discounted rate because I am an alum. And I was able to get my first certification immediately. Like, I passed the test on the first try, and I want to credit that like 100% because I was a part of that course and that testing. But again, the importance of especially in HR, a lot of these are competency-based questions, or how would you handle this type questions, and just having that network and being able to reach out and get other people's best practices, I really feel helped me be successful in that certification.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah. So students, FYI, HR majors, there is a lower tier of the cert that you can do as a new professional. Take advantage of that because it's a wonderful opportunity. And the fact that there's actual test prep tied into our SHRM group here, take advantage. All right, Trish.
So I was a little bit of a different approach. When I started the business school, I was actually at Brook City base. Resources were not as abundant as they are today. But that being said, I didn't, I took opportunities to either talk with professors, and I've actually done it more as an alumni, as crazy as it sounds. So I have connected with Juan, And so I'm part of the mentor-mentee program as an alumni. I can be very persuasive with my words, and somehow I convinced Juan that I could do this. And so I don't know how many other alumni are doing it, but I'm doing it. I might be the only one still. I did it last semester. And so I was able to walk through and have these conversations of like, you have a lot of resources now, right? These resources that weren't necessarily available in the format that they are now. I'm also a mom of 2 kids, so it was a little bit more of a stretch to kind of do all of the extras. I was doing good to get to school and get my stuff done, right? But I think doing it as an alumni, and Mary Kay has given me many, many, many opportunities to be involved as an alumni in platforms as this, and in transfer fairs and helping in other ways. So it doesn't end. I guess I'm the person that says it doesn't end at the end of graduation, right? As a matter of fact, sometimes it just picks up. And so being part of all of these programs that I'm part of now and doing the things that I'm doing now still serve a great purpose in my life and to help other people.
Yeah, shout out to the Silver Liners right there, our transfer mentor program. Love it. So that also brings like an interesting conversation start of mentorship, right? So mentorship is one of those things that students are hearing, they're like, oh, go get a mentor. It's like, well, first off, how do I start that, right? What questions do I ask, and how do I know it's an effective mentor? So this one I'll open to anybody. If you want to talk about, have you had a mentor and how have you navigated those waters?
I guess I'll take this one first. I have had a mentor. I've had several in my career path, and several who said, hey, don't go down that road. You know, it's going to lead you down to a place. Go back to school was one of them. She directly said, do not apply for a promotion, which goes against everything inside of you, and encouraged me to go back to school, right? Which is how I ended up at A&M. I just made that decision not to pursue the dollar, but to pursue the education who had a higher payout. And the mentee that I have this year, we just had a conversation not too long ago, last week, where she was talking about, you know, I can't wait to finish school and get my degree because then I'm going to pursue a management position. I said, absolutely not. You need to look for opportunities for leadership within your organization, because unfortunately, or fortunately, it's not just the degree that gets you in. You've got to have some experience behind that. You have to have the ability to say, look, I've led people, I've been successful at it, I've grown myself professionally, right? I didn't just do this. I didn't just do this part of it. And teaching her, like, yes, do the leadership role, but take it slow. Like, don't try to charge in that direction, because the degree does facilitate the job, but the experience paired with the degree is a greater tool and a greater asset to any employer. I want to know that you can lead. I want to know that you can be in charge of people and that you can also grow somebody. I also encouraged her down the road, find somebody to give it away to, find somebody to invest in, because in that you're also going to find more professional growth within yourself.
Nice. Thank you for that, Trish. Mario or Melanie, do you want to share kind of a mentor experience?
Yeah, I'll share. I think I tried to grab as many mentors I possibly could, whether it be a mentor for public speaking like Dr. Jenkins. I have a mentor for marketing, Dr. Baruka. I also have another mentor in marketing is Dr. Daniels. You know, I've been utilizing, and also Dr. Ford. I've been utilizing all these resources whenever I have either a question or just need some direction on what's happening with either a marketing issue or sometimes even a personal issue, because they know me personally. But I think what's also helps you grow is obviously getting a mentor, but when you become a mentor to others, I was shocked. I think when I started taking my journey, even people started approaching me to be a mentor to help them public speak. And I had never done that before, but I figured, well, if you're coming to me for a reason. I'll do whatever I can to help. And it's a great feeling to see their confidence grow. And all it took was that little bit of acknowledgement of potential that you see in someone, just like someone did for you. And I think that's where it really completes this circle of acquiring a mentor to take yourself to the next level. And while you're going through that journey, people are going to want to use you as a mentor. And you just keep bouncing back and forth, all that energy and the creativity and the resources that are around you. And I think that's what really helped me, I guess, accept a mentor, and also accept being a mentor, is just being in those positions where I trusted the people that I wanted for them to be my mentor, and I felt like that they trusted me whenever I was asked to be a mentor. So I think that's what really completes that full circle for me as far as being a mentor.
Very nice. Thank you. Melanie, do you have anything for this one?
Yes. So again, like everybody else, I kind of picked up mentors just along the way, and each served a different purpose in my life at the time of whatever it was that I was going through professionally. But I want to say the biggest support and when I most utilized mentors was when I was trying to make a transition from being just an entry-level recruiter to a full-on HR business partner. So trying to make that transition, trying to understand what it took, receiving guidance, kind of getting feedback from other HR business partners, like this is what to expect. So is this what you really want? And pondering that really helped me to make the decision and jump into it. And I was really glad that I did, because this is what I'm passionate about and what I love. But had I not gotten feedback from those mentors, I wouldn't have been able to make that decision just on my own. And then, of course, now realizing how important that was for me, serving as a mentor to others. And I still serve as a mentor to some of the students that you have referred to me, Clarissa. Like, we keep in touch, they'll text me, they ask for feedback. So I think it's important even now, even though I am a mentor, to still have mentors.
Absolutely. I think that's also a big one, because even once you launch in your career, right, again, the learning doesn't stop. How do you kind of keep pushing forward, and can you evolve? A good mentor too, they're going to kind of get you out of that comfort zone. They're like, okay, so what else? They're going to find that moment of growth in you. So thank you for that. And always thank you, Melanie, for accepting their calls and their emails, because I know they're really excited, and I appreciate you always giving them time. So now I want to go into the question. Okay, so we've talked about wins and kind of success. I want to know about a challenge. So I want to know what has been like the greatest challenge or learning moment, right, in your career so far. So we'll get started with, let's see, Trish on this one, then Melanie, and then Mario.
My greatest challenge. I actually had a conversation with she's my clinical supervisor. We work together. We're a team, and I asked her this morning, and she was like, "Oh, people who can't accept change, right? That's the biggest thing. Like, we are the facilitators of change in the clinic, and the biggest challenge is getting people to understand that it's necessary, that it's in the best interest of them and our patients." And getting them to understand that it's really not negotiable, right? Having a conversation that says, I understand that you don't like this. I understand that it may be a little bit of a burden initially, but facilitating the change. Like, at the end of the day, like, that's what we're here to do, is to facilitate change, to create a better process, to create the best patient care, and to be, what's the word I'm looking for? To be the ambassadors, right? An ambassador of change, probably. That's the biggest challenge. And even today, we still face it. COVID slapped us in the face with change, right? Everything from 1 hour to the next on some days was literally evolving and changing. And no, don't do that. Now you're going to do this. And no, we're going to go down this way. Forget what we said 5 minutes ago. Now we're going this way. And so being in an environment of change, especially today, has been the biggest challenge.
All right, Melanie.
So my biggest challenge, being an HR professional, and coming from one company to another as an HR professional, was really learning the difference from my positional power where I got to use that a lot in my previous company, and now having to learn how to really influence and use my personal power. Because even though you're in a person that's in a position of leadership and you have this positional power, lo and behold, there's people who are still opposed to it. And no matter what you say, they're not going to do it. So how do you successfully influence them and get them to kind of go with the flow or get them to where they need to be? So really learning the difference of those two and learning how to influence was a big challenge for me. And still to this day, it's like, sometimes you want to resort and like, it's because, you have to do this. I said so. But you have to learn how to word it. You have to learn how to have that personal power. And you realize how much further it takes you along in your career once you learn to master that.
Yeah, that lasting influence goes a long way. All right, Mario? Yeah, as an entrepreneur, I'm fascinated by you because you have a different perspective than they do on some things.
Well, I think the biggest challenge has been just being able to find balance within everything. You can't just keep making product and not market it. You got to do some marketing while you're making some production, being able to prioritize everything, finding your limitations. You got to find out what you're great at and what you're not great at. And there's just certain things where you can spend hours and hours and hours trying to figure things out when you're better off just outsourcing something. So I think that's been the biggest challenge, is realizing what you're not good at and what you need to outsource to continue to be productive. Because before you know it, you're 40, 50 hours, whatever hours a week you're putting in for that job, before you know it, they're gone. And if you didn't knock out all the priorities and email back the people that you needed to email back, you can really get lost in just a flood of just business. Before you know it, you're just a mound of things that you're behind. So I think that's one thing, is time management, being able to balance between your marketing channels and active marketing channels, and also keeping up with the production side and inventory side of that. It's just a really fine line that you have to walk to be able to balance everything. And I think that's just been the biggest thing. And I think being able to achieve success, not just monetarily. Unfortunately, in this country, that's the way we really feel like we're successful, is if the bottom dollar looks successful. But you can achieve success just by some of the collaborations you do, just by some of the feedback that you get from some of your customers. You feel more successful than the bottom dollar shows. So that's one thing I can definitely remind any entrepreneur that you're out there, is rely on your networking, and don't base success on just monetary value. Base just success on what you have actually fulfilled within yourself.
Hey, Mario, from an entrepreneur perspective, is there any resources that you would recommend for students who are thinking about going into that track at all?
Oh, yes, I have the perfect resource. His name is Dr. Carter, Dr. Douglas Carter. He is phenomenal. I will admit, not to discredit marketing at all. If I would have taken Dr. Carter earlier on into attending Texas A&M San Antonio, I probably would have changed my major. He is fantastic. There's no other better resource that I can think of than Dr. Carter. He is phenomenal. He knows anything there is to know about any entrepreneurship that you could possibly think of.
Absolutely. They glowing raves about him also in the last panel too, because he's just so savvy and everything, and he's just so welcoming too in terms of his feedback. All right,
his public speaking also, I got to add, is phenomenal. But best public speaker I think I've ever had.
Absolutely. I learn every time I'm in a meeting with him. Absolutely. So the last question I'll have for y'all before I open it up for Nancy to kind of share the words of wisdom from the academic advising perspective is, if you could go back in time, again, going back to those early years of your college career, what is that piece of advice you would offer yourself? So I will do Meloney on this one, Mario, and then Trish.
Okay, so if I could go back and offer myself, I'd actually give myself a few words of wisdom. So it is okay to fail, and it's okay to struggle, and it's okay to get frustrated. Definitely. what I would also tell myself at that time is go and talk to somebody, talk to the other students. I'm sure they're having the same struggles, or somebody is not understanding, just like I was having trouble. So again, talk to your peers, because you never know in the classroom who has the same questions or maybe struggling. Another thing I can say is I did participate in quite a bit of events on campus, but I wish I would have participated in more, and I wish I would have networked even more than what I had. I always feel, like I said, that follows me to this day, and my success and getting kind of like the in my industry, right? I'd have even more contacts had I done that just a little bit more early on, or gone to a few more events. So.
Okay, Mario?
I think the advice I would give my younger self would be it's okay to ask for help, because I was one of those real stubborn people that never asked for help. So it's okay to ask for help, and to really work on my writing and communicating skills. Didn't realize, I mean, I guess I should have realized, but I didn't realize how much communicating you have to do as a student, even more so as a business marketing major. And I really wish I would have focused more on my writing and getting better writing skills. Even though I'm happy with my writing skills now, I really wish I would have focused on that more, and I wish I would have gotten into clubs earlier than I did. I was very hesitant in getting. I was not a club guy. I don't ever really join clubs, but I wish I would have been a little bit more open-minded to clubs. Realizing now that they completely changed everything.
And sometimes just the afterthought, you're like, you know what, I'm so busy with class and, family, especially for so many of the students, like, I have a home life. When we're saying, when I talk about from the career advising perspective, I'm like, you know what, I'm not telling you to join every single organization known to man. I'm like, find one and make that your community, right? Really be involved. Don't just have your name on the roster just to have it, but be actually in the meetings, contribute to the conversation, find where it is. So thank you for that, Mario.
Mhm.
All right, Trish, again, back in time. What are we telling you?
I think the most recent thing I heard was do it afraid, right? Even if you're afraid to do it afraid, because the outcome is probably going to be a whole lot better than you can actually ever fathom or imagine. And you're going to find yourself in the company of great people, in under the leadership of great people, and under the direction of amazing professors. Even if you're not sure, try it, do it, right? If you don't like it, then don't try it, or maybe try it again in another season. Everything we go through in life serves a purpose, but I would say do it afraid, even if you fail, right? Failure is only another way to figure out how to do it right. And it's an opportunity to learn and grow. I didn't go to college initially out of high school for but one semester because I was afraid. And then when it got to the point of there really wasn't another alternative for me other than to do what I was doing already for another 20 years, I went back to college, mad and afraid, actually. So sometimes you do it mad and afraid, but I wouldn't change it for anything. And take the chance. Take the chance. Say hi to the person. Don't be afraid to network. Don't be afraid to reach out. Don't, as Mario said, don't be afraid to ask for help, right? You don't have to journey it alone. And as a mentor, right, like I've learned that telling people, hey, don't be afraid to ask me, if you haven't talked to me in 2 months or 10 months or 2 years, and I'm a resource for you, pick up the phone and reach out, because that's what it's all about, helping each other reach success, right? If somebody else reaches success, then I've become successful as well.
Nice. Thank you so much for that. All right. So, Nancy, we've heard these stories of our alumni who are doing some great work out there in industry. Now the conversation comes back, like, okay, so if I want to declare this major, or maybe I'm considering a minor in any of this, what words of wisdom do you have to share for our students?
Yeah, it's a journey going through school. It's a journey that you should be enjoying, that it gives you a chance to stretch and to learn. I think that I have learned several things today, and it's just underscoring how important connections with alumni are for our current students. Now, I'm often talking to students about future courses, what should they do, what kind of opportunities there are, and I'm usually trying to get them to visualize what it's like after they graduate. Where do they see themselves, and what can they do while they're still in school to learn more about what's out there, to strengthen their resume, and to take advantage of things that they might not get a chance to while they're still in school. So my job is to try to, obviously, to tell them what courses should they take when, and what comes around once a year that you have to grab while it comes around. You have to be prepared with all your prerequisites and so forth. But the other part of the conversation I'm looking for, are you getting grades in your classes for your major that indicate to me this is a good fit for you or not? And I often will point that out. If I'm seeing not great grades and I'm wondering, is this a good fit for you? And sometimes that happens because people choose majors that they don't really know for sure anything about it. They just pick it. And so try to encourage them to learn more about that. And I'm referring them to career services, web resources. But I love the idea of mentoring by alumni, and really will also bring those kinds of ideas up, because those making those connections and learning from people that have been there and done that and understand the program, I think makes a huge difference. So we do really try to make sure that they are in the right degree program and know what they're going to be doing when they, or try to figure out what they can do when they graduate with the degree. And again, that it's not a race to get through. I know a lot of people really, really want to get through, but taking the time and investing some time rather than loading up their schedule with 5 or 6 classes in a semester. Maybe do things like join SHRM, or don't join any marketing clubs or any other organizations that can help them network and connect with others that could really give them some insight into some opportunities they could take advantage of.
Thank you for that, Nancy. And then just because, okay, for the career services perspective, I really want to challenge students to actually test drive these things. So the prototype it, right? Say, okay, I have this plan in action, intern, job shadow, do an informational interview. Again, talk to alumni one-on-one and ask those questions like, hey, what did you not know before you got out of here? What was that aha moment that you really solidified you wanted to do this? I challenge you to think about that, because that is also a constant conversation I know that we have from a career side, where students like, okay, I've walked in with this plan of action. This is it for the rest of my life. This is the one career direction I'm going in. I'm like, oh no, this is a lifelong journey, right? So yeah, I was one of those marketing students. I interned. It just was not a fit for me when I interned in industry. I was really fortunate. Volunteerism actually helped me kind of uncover my career path. And you're talking about like 13 years later, I still do what I was launching during that junior year of college. So I was like, okay, cool. But I want to really echo the fact that try it out. You're reading the resources, you're having these conversations, but now actually go out there and see what it feels like for you out in industry. Do multiple internships if you can, because organizations are different. Company cultures are different. So don't forget the May Center. We are here to help you. We are still seeing students in this virtual environment. Ask the questions. Like Mario said, ask for help. You have a whole slew of campus resources that we want to offer to you. So make sure that you're tapping into them. So again, I thank everybody for their time today. I always just love hearing the stories after. We were actually having this conversation yesterday that it feels really good from a higher ed perspective to see when students go out there. Like, I know Nancy, right? This makes the job right now. And so just hearing what you are doing out there in industry and just growing, and the fact that you are willing to share your knowledge with our students. Thank you so much. I applaud all y'all's efforts. And again, I hope the conversation continues on.